a pleasant morning to each and everyone. For today's video, I will be discussing the destination management organization that I've chosen, which is Singapore Tourism Board. In this meeting, we'll be going over the following: STB's history, its mandates and rules, its mission and vision, its organizational structure, its key officials, and of course, its programs and sample events. But before I proceed with Singapore Tourism Board, let us first recall what is a DMO. So DMO stands for Destination Management Organization, though these are often referred to as destination marketing organizations. So, what is a DMO and what do they do? It is important for us to know, especially me as a tourism student, about destination management first. So, as we all know, the tourism industry is a $1 trillion global business. Over 1.2 billion people travel abroad every year to experience the world's diverse cultures and physical environment. According to the United Nations World Tourism Organization, destination management is the coordinated and thoughtful planning of elements that make up a tourism destination. This can involve anything from attracting visitors to providing amenities for them to enjoy during their stay. So, a destination management organization represents the voice of its destination to potential visitors. It works with travel trade partners to provide travelers with information about the destination before they decide where to go. It also brings together organizations that serve all aspects of the visitor experience, from lodging providers, attraction operators, restaurant, and retailers, so that they can share insights into what makes their community stand out as a tourist destination. So destinations with strong DMOs such as Singapore will be more competitive, have increased visibility, and have better economic performance than those without one. So this careful planning ensures strategic long-term success of a tourism destination. This is in-depth coordination. This in-depth coordination moves beyond marketing, and that's the reason why the M in the MO has recently referred to as management. Moving forward to the history of Singapore Tourism Board. So before it was called Singapore Tourism Board, it was once called a Singapore Tourist Promotion Board that was established on January 1st, 1964, in accordance with the Tourism Board Ordinance passed in December the previous year. So its mandate is to promote Singapore as tourist destination. It signaled the government's recognition of tourism's potential as an important contributor to the country's economy. So STPB started out with a staff strength of 25, and that year Singapore welcomed 91,000 visitors. Wow, that's many already. So under STPB, the early stages of Singapore tourism development focus on raising the awareness of Singapore as a destination and building up tourism infrastructure, including major attractions such as Sentosa Island and the Singapore zoological, gardens. Zoological gardens. So Singapore is really known for its safari, diba? So it's heaven for wondrous wildlife, and it is really a must visit for animal lovers. So in 1970s, the board started marketing the city as a venue for conventions and organized events to draw visitors. So it started in 1970, but look at Singapore right now. With a track record of hosting Asia's most prominent events, Singapore continues to deliver innovative solutions for the transfer of knowledge, ideas, and connections to drive new possibilities for the business travel, meetings, incentive, travel, convention, and exhibition or the BTMIC sector in Singapore. So it's really no wonder that Singapore has hosted many world-class events and is consistently voted as the top MICE destination in the world as it has all the basics of a good host, a pro-business environment, a world-class facilities and infrastructure, professional service, award-winning, unique event venues, and cool attractions, all in a rich and unique Asian setting like nowhere else. So in 1980s, STPB oversaw the implementation of the $1 billion tourism product development plan, which called for the preservation of Singapore's historic districts such as Chinatown, Little India, and Arab Street. Arab Street, the rejuvenation of Singapore River, and the creation of new iconic products and events. So it was in 1986 when they um, unveiled its first tourism master plan. So the tourism product development plan, whose objective were to increase the number of visitors to Singapore, the length of their stay, and their spending in Singapore. To reflect a major shift in the way tourism was championed as key economic driver, STPB was renamed Singapore Tourism Board in 1997. STB expanded its role beyond destination promotion and started to establish Singapore as a regional tourism hub for both tourism companies and tourists. It marked a decisive move towards tourism industry development, an approach that continues to distinguish STB from many other national tourism organizations that focus almost exclusively on marketing and promotional activities. Next. So next, as you can see on the screen, it's STB's timeline. So I will not read it one by one because we have time limit. So it started in January 1, 1964. So the timeline is until in 2014 where it celebrates its 50th anniversary. So this uh, are the timeline. This is the timeline that I've searched. So it's just until 2014. But they're still existing right now. Until now, rather. Moving forward to its mandates and rules. So, STB is a statutory board under the Ministry of Trade and Industry of Singapore. So it champions the development of Singapore's tourism sector, one of the country's key service sectors and economic pillars, and undertakes the marketing and promotion of Singapore as a tourism destination. The Singapore Tourism Board also is the lead development agency for tourism, one of Singapore's key economic sector, together with industry partners and the community. Together with industry partners and community, we shape a dynamic Singapore tourism landscape. We bring the passion made possible brand to life by differentiating Singapore as a vibrant destination that inspire people to share and deepen their passion. So STB also develops and sustains the growth of tourism industry through long-term strategic planning, growing markets, attracting investment, and developing tourism hardware and software. So their long-term strategic planning, STB conducts regular environment scans and trend analysis to gain external and internal perspective, which enables it to formulate long-term strategic plans to develop and sustain the growth of the tourism sector. In terms of the growing market, it is considered as an important part of STB sector growth strategy. So it is supported by the board's integrated network of 20 regional offices and 4 marketing representatives, which actively build mind share an affinity of Singapore as an attractive leisure and business destination and strengthen the country's market presence in their respective regions. So they attract investments through its regional offices. STB attracts and facilitates investments by foreign tourism accompanies insights available for tourism investment and Singapore. In Singapore. Lastly, developing tourism hardware and software is necessary to sustain and enhance Singapore's attractiveness as a destination. So SDB continues to plan for a steady pipeline of new infrastructural developments and support the creation of new innovative and compelling content propositions and visitor experience. Now let's move forward to its mission and vision. So its vision is to be a vibrant and inspiring destination Singapore that we are proud of. So as we all know, vision is something that organization hopes to become. So they hope to become a vibrant and inspiring destination Singapore that Singaporeans are proud of. In terms of their mission is to shape a dynamic tourism landscape for Singapore in partnership with industry and community. Now let's move to its organizational structure. So as we can see, its organizational structure is headed by a chairman, which is Mr. Chalima, and under him, there is a line on the right side, which is the internal audit head, which is Alfred Sham, and under Chalima, Mr. Chalima is the chief executive at Keith Tan. So there are eight. I mean six. There are six sectors groups that we can see here. So the first group is the marketing group, which is headed by Assistant Chief Executive Chang Chi Pei, and under him there are also different people that also have different rules and responsibilities. And the next group is the Policy and Planning Group, headed by Miss Jenny Lim. And on the third group is the Corporate Group, which is headed by Deputy Chief Executive Yap Chin Shang. And on the fourth group, we have the Experience Development Group, headed by Deputy Chief Executive Yap Chin Shang. Oh, so the Corporate Group and the Experience Development Group is both headed by Deputy Chief Executive Yap Chin Shang. And on the Internal Group, it is headed by Assistant Chief Executive Juliana Kwa. And on the last group, which is the Technology Transformation Group, it is headed by Chief Executive Officer and QSM Wong Ming Fai. Now let's meet the people behind STB. I'm sorry, my laptop is. So I'm experiencing a problem here. No worries. So the Singapore Tourism Board of Directors. Let's first meet Mr. Chalima. Why I can't? Why is the picture not visible? Oh my god, maybe because of my internet connection. So should I proceed? So Mr. Chalima had served. So as you heard earlier, I already mentioned Mr. Chalima. So Mr. Chalima is the chairman of the Singapore Tourism Board. So he has an extensive experience serving both multinational and local companies across a wide spectrum of industries, specializing in financial services, telecommunications and technology, real estate, private equity, and manufacturing. So now let's meet the board members. So Mr. Keith Tan. So Mr. Keith Tan was also mentioned earlier. So he assumed the appointment of chief executive of the Singapore Tourism Board on October 29, 2018. So from 2014 to 2018, he served as deputy secretary in the Ministry of Defense. While Miss Audrey Kwa is a former executive director, media practice, Asia Pacific at Denso Aegis Network. She is also the chief client officer, Southeast Asia, and former Singapore CEO. So I'll just show you the picture of Mr. Cha Lima. So that's Mr. Cha Lima. So it's really my internet connection. My internet connection is really the problem earlier. I'm sorry for that. So now let's move forward to, oh my god, it's not them. The other board members, so Mr. Aaron Sharil Yusuf Manyan. So Mr. Aaron Sharil Yusuf Manyan is currently Deputy Secretary at the Ministry of Communications and Information. So from September 2014 to September 2017, Mr. Manyam was Senior Director at the Ministry of Trade and Industry, where he was responsible for coordinating economic policies and regulating the manufacturing, service, and tourism sector, as well as overseeing long-term economic transformation. Meanwhile, Mr. Lim Ing-we is a Chief Executive Officer of the Urban Redevelopment Authority, URA, with effect from 1st September 2017. So URA is Singapore's national planning agency responsible for the physical planning and urban development of Singapore. So he was formerly the chief planner and deputy chief executive officer of URA from 2009 to 2017. Next on the line is Mr. Ravi Thakran. So Mr. Ravi Thakran is the founder, chairman, and managing partner of Turmeric Capital, and also the chairman and chief executive officer of the Aspirational Consumer Lifestyle Corporation, USA. So he founded the L Capital Asia in 2018 and lead it as chairman and managing partner from its inception. He also served many senior roles in several business verticals of the LVMH Group, the world's largest luxury goods company. On the right side, we have Miss Tian Kui Eng. So Miss Tian Kui Eng assumed the appointment of CEO of Sentosa Development Corporation in June 2020. Prior to that, Kui Eng was the Executive Vice President of the Singapore Economic Development Board, ADB, overseeing ADB's global consumer experience, marketing, and public affairs and investments facilitation activities. Next is Mr. Arthur Lang. So Mr. Arthur Lang is the group Chief Financial Officer of Singtel, and his responsibilities includes the management of the international group that oversees the group's regional associates and its portfolio of strategic telecom investments. He spearheaded Singtel's ongoing digital bank joint venture with Grab. So next is Miss So Chu. So So Chu is the Chief Information Officer for Asia at Merlife. She is responsible for the end-to-end technology delivery partnering with the business to build leading digital experience for customer. So Chu has over 2 decades of experience in senior technology leadership roles in corporate and investment bank, working for JP Morgan across Singapore. Next is Mr. Mohammad Saiful Sarani. So he has been a partner in PwC LLP Singapore since 2012. He started in PwC as an associate in 2000 and has 20 years of experience in the audit industry. So he is also one of the firm's partner contacts as it relates to US accounting and auditing matters, as well as US bound cross-border security transaction. Next is Mrs. Wong Ai Ai. So Miss Wong Ai Ai is regarded as the one of the Baker McKenzie's most distinguished lawyer, with a career that spans leading a range of landmark transactions for blue chip clients to global management and leadership roles at the highest level of the firm. So she graduated from the University of Kent with a Bachelor of Arts in Law First Class Honors and holds a Master of Law from Harvard University Law School. She is admitted to practice in Singapore, New York, England, and Wales. Now we are on the last part of this discussion, which is the STB programs and sample events. The first on the list is STB organized events. So, as part of STB's efforts to facilitate Singapore travel trade partners in building your strategic relationship with in-market travel intermediaries and expanding consumer outreach, STB regularly organizes and coordinates participation in various trade events. So, as you can see here, there is an STB trade event listing on last April 1, 2021 to 31 December 20. And now they are also having, this year they're having STB trade event listing from April 1 to this 2021 to December 31, 2022. So in order to participate, you may submit an application for participation, and by participating in these trade events, you acknowledge acceptance and compliance with the terms and conditions of the participation. So your participation in these trade events may qualify you for double tax deduction. For more details, please click the link. So next is Singapore Reimagine Global Conversation. Introducing Singapore Reimagine Global Conversation, a thought leadership series that convenes influential business leaders and industry spokespersons from Singapore and beyond to share their perspective and exchange ideas and trigger conversation and collaborations. Singapore Reimagine Global Conversations kick off with the Reimagine Experiences, a 4 episode series in September 2021. So each episode has its focus on a specific theme and featured a diverse range of travelers, first innovations, newly emerged business models, and useful insights with the aim to inspire and encourage for the new pandemic environment as we collectively welcome tourism back to Singapore. So it's really nice to watch those videos. You can learn a lot from those. So made with fashion initiative. Singapore's national initiative Made with Passion doubles to more than 100 local lifestyle brands with innovative new experience added. So, in the spirit of supporting enterprising lifestyle brands in Singapore, the Made with Fashion initiative has been further expanded to provide more opportunities for locals to discover and engage with good local brands, led by the Singapore Brand Office and the Singapore Tourism Board, with the support of Enterprise Singapore as working closely with industry players and trade association. This expansion builds on the momentum of its launch 10 months ago to spotlight the merits of local brands and spur greater purchase preference. So since its launch in November 2020, last 2 years. The first batch of 47 made with passion brands benefited from being able to showcase their products through local retailers and engaging in innovative collaborations with other brands, enhancing their visibility among local consumers and helping to champion the local lifestyle industry. To continue introducing locals to brands that are representative of the values of a good local brand, an open call was held in April 2020 for brands to apply, attracting an overwhelming number of more than 300 applicants, while a panel of industry leaders, trades association, and government agencies came together after a rigorous evaluation process. They had selected 64 brands from the applications to join the Made with Passion slate. So the new brands more than doubles Made with Passion existing number of brands, adding up a total of 111 brands under that initiative. Last sample programs and events that I listed here is the China Ready webinar. So, as we all know, during the pandemic, it's hard to attend meetings and seminars, so they created a webinar. So, in order for us to still learn, us to still meet different people, and to continue the work, so we have the webinar. So, as a top visitor source market for Singapore for the past 3 years, China is poised to for recovery with positive sentiments towards Singapore. Amidst the current landscape, China's domestic destination and business have been doing well and introduced various innovative marketing ideas to engage their customers. With that, SCB held the second round of the China Ready webinar on August 11 and 12, 2021, and invited six Chinese digital giants, Alipay, ByteDance, Mafeng Wu, Meituan, Tencent, and Trip.com Group, where they provided Singapore tourism stakeholders with a more in-depth understanding of the unique digital ecosystem in China, how to leverage various platforms to reach out to our target audience, in addition to the latest Chinese consumer insights, case studies, and opportunities for partnership. And that ends my discussion about Singapore Tourism Board. So I hope that you've learned something. Thank you for attending. God bless us all. Bye.